Hello there and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to talk about mounts, and more specifically we're going to talk about the 8 mounts you can farm daily and weekly in the War Within expansion. This video is relevant as of patch 11.0, so if you're in 11.1 or 2, maybe there's a few more at this point, but we're going to talk about the 8 mounts which you can get during launch and of course season 1 of the War Within. But before we jump into that, guys, I do want to shout out my Twitch, twitch.tv/MrGM. If you want to see me streaming World of Warcraft, War Within launch, and more, over on twitch.tv/MrGM every single day. Right, so yes, the War Within expansion is now live. As of the recording of this video, we are 1 week into the expansion launch. Hope everyone's having a great time, but it is finally time to farm some mounts. So in this video, we're going to talk about 8 mounts that you can get during the War Within. One of them is during Season 2 potentially, but we'll get to that in a bit. But we have a few mounts to get through, so let's just dive into it. So the first mount we're going to talk about is Beledar's Spawn. This is an awesome looking mount. It's like a Void Walker, kind of similar to the Shadowlands KSM mounts, and there's a few colors of these available, and this is like the purple variant of that. Now, this mount does drop from the rare NPC Beledar's Spawn in Hallowfall. Now, this NPC is only up during the Void phase of the crystal in the sky. So obviously in Hallowfall, you have that giant crystal, it turns voidy. Now this happens every 3 hours for 30 minutes starting at 1 AM game time, so you can figure out the math on that. There's handy notes and weak auras and things like that which do tell you when it's next coming up, so I highly recommend grabbing those. This NPC has a ton of different spawn points around Hallowfall, so what happens is basically when the void phase comes along, you want to fly around and try and find it. You can kill this rare every day for a chance of the mount. It can also be done on level 70 plus, and it can be done by ults. So if you have an ult army, this is where you're going to want to be parking them. So the most efficient way to do this is of course just to look on the group finder when the void phase comes up, or just before the void phase. There's going to be a ton of groups on there looking for Beledar's Spawn, and of course they will likely find it and you'll go in there and kill it. Now if you haven't got this mount, by the time you get to Renown 23 with the Hallowfall Arathi, there's actually an item from this Renown which will just place the location of the spawn on the map, but hopefully you get it by that point. But yeah, all you got to do is kill Beledar's Spawn at least once a day for a chance at this mount. It's a pretty low drop rate as well. The next mount we're going to talk about is Old Mole Rufus, which I believe is a Kim Possible reference, so that's amazing. So this drops from the Lurker of the Deeps in the Ringing Deeps zone. This is a low drop rate mount once again. So the way to spawn the Lurker of the Deeps is that there are 5 levers all around the Ringing Deeps. They're here on the map. I'll put the coordinates below as well. Once those levers have been pulled at the exact same time, the rare will spawn towards the bottom of the map in the pool. So this one does sound complicated, but you can just look on the group finder for groups that are pulling the levers. You don't have to pull the lever to kill the rare. So if other people are spawning it, you can just sit down the bottom and kill the rare as well. You don't have to be the one pulling the levers, but if you do find a lever, definitely start a group on the group finder because they're not always up on every shard, so make sure you're kind of sharing the love on that. This rare can be killed daily and can be killed by your ults, and I believe the mount does drop for level 70 plus as well, so yeah, good luck getting the Kim Possible mount. The next mount we're going to talk about is the Stonevault Mechsuit. This is a grey variant of the mech mount. There's a few of these available, and actually another one on this list as well. So this mount is actually a reward from a quest, and the item to start this quest is dropped from Void Speaker Eric in the Stonevault. Now this only drops on Mythic and Mythic Plus difficulty, so this will be available to farm from Season 1 of the War Within, and with the changes in the War Within, Mythic 0 difficulty does actually reset daily, so you will be able to farm this daily. Now this quest item is of course a low drop rate, as low as any other mount, so yeah, this is going to be a bit of a tough farm, but a very cool mount nonetheless. Speaking of dungeons, the next mount is Wick. Wick is another mole mount variant, and this drops from the Darkness in the Dark Flame Cleft on Mythic and Mythic Plus difficulty. So here's the thing with this one, this will likely not be available until Season 2 of the War Within in patch 11.1. The reason being is that Mythic 0 difficulty and Mythic Plus difficulty will not be available in Season 1 for the Dark Flame Cleft. So once that is available in a future patch of the War Within, you can farm this mount daily from the Darkness in the Dark Flame Cleft. Okay, so let's move on to the weekly mounts that you can farm in the War Within. So the first one is the Dauntless Imperial Lynx. This uses the new Lynx model of the War Within. It is a really, really nice looking mount, and actually kind of common, so it's not too hard to get. So this actually drops from the Lamplight Supply Satchel. So this satchel is from the Spreading the Light event in Hallowfall. So this event takes place in this area here in Hallowfall and is up all the time. This event consists of bonus objectives and weekly quests where you could just run around here and complete all of these objectives to get the Lamplight Supply Satchel. There's a ton of these, so you're going to get a ton of chances to get this mount weekly, and also this can be done on alts. So if you have any characters from level 70, you can go over to this area and start getting these satchels. You can also just send these satchels to your main as well if you really wanted to, because they are warbound as well. So if you have an army of alts at level 70 that you leveled from the pre-patch or something like that, you can get a ton of these Lamplight supply satchels and a really high chance of this mount. The Spreading the Light event is good fun. There's a lot of elites around there, so make sure you are keeping your wits about you. But for the most part, you just want to run around here, see what the bonus objectives are, and see what the weekly quests are, just to get as many as possible and as many chances at the mount as you can. So yeah, that's how you get the Dauntless Imperial Lynx. The next mount is another mech mount. This is the Machine Defense Unit 111. Now this drops from the Awakened Cache at the end of the Awakening the Machine event. So the Awakening the Machine event is an event in the Ringing Deeps, which is up all of the time. This starts at Gundaraz and is a level 80 activity, however you can do it on a lower level, but the NPCs are level 80. The way this event works is essentially it's like proving grounds with different waves of NPCs, while making sure that Speaker Caldus doesn't die. Completing all 20 waves of the Awakening the Machine will give you a bunch of Awakening caches when you've completed it. Inside these Awakening caches are a chance at this mount. Now previously this was a guaranteed drop from completing the achievement for completing 20 waves, but unfortunately now it is a RNG drop. This can be done weekly and on alts. If you are looking to farm this pretty intensely, it's a really awesome looking mount. I'm not sure on the drop rate as this was a pretty late change, however it is looking like it's a pretty low drop rate. So essentially here, 20 waves of the Awakening the Machine weekly, open the caches and hope that you get the mount. The last two mounts will be available from Season 1 of the War Within. The first one is the Reigns of the Sureki Skyrazor. This drops from Queen Ansurect on any difficulty, which is the last boss of the Nurabar Palace raid, which is of course the first raid of the War Within. This will very likely be available after Season 1, of course. Make sure you're killing that at least weekly if you can. This can also drop on LFR, so if you're looking to do it nice and quickly, LFR is probably going to be your best choice to kill this boss. However, it will not drop on the new story mode version of the raid. This mode does not have any loot, so don't go farming that trying to get a mount because it just won't drop. The next one is the Reigns of the Ascendant Skyrazor, which is of course a recolor of the previous mount. These are awesome looking mounts, by the way. I really like them. This does also drop from Queen Ansurect. However, this is on mythic only difficulty. So much like other mythic mounts, it's very likely it'll be a guaranteed drop during Season 1, and then after that it will be a rare drop. So make sure if you are mythic raiding, try and get this mount. It's a very cool looking mount. As said, I don't think it's going to go away, but it will likely be a little bit harder to get in future seasons. But yeah, there you go, guys. Those are the 8 mounts of the War Within that you can get daily and weekly. I'm certainly in there trying to get as many of these as possible, and I already have a few, which has been super cool. So yeah, it's been a lot of fun. But guys, thank you very much for watching. If you have any tips or tricks or anything like that to help out getting some of these mounts, do let me know down below, and let me know down below which one is your favorite mount as well. Mine has got to be the Beledar spawn. I think that mount is so phenomenal looking. So yeah, thank you very much, guys. If you do like this video, please do leave a like on it and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. If you want to support me outside of YouTube, I'm also on Patreon and I'm on Twitter, MrGMYT, and I have a partner Discord channel as well. And as mentioned, I am streaming on twitch.tv/MrGM. If you want to come see me streaming the War Within, we're just getting into launch. We're collecting all the things, having a really great time over there, collecting all the mounts as well. So if you want to check me out, guys, I'm over on twitch.tv/MrGM every single day. And with that, guys, I'll see you next time.